Hey there! Are you a crime scene investigator, law enforcement officer, or forensic scientist looking for a Facebook community that understands you? Check out Taction USA's forensic product groups. You'll find blogs, articles, information, and community. For those of us in the investigative field, there are not many lines of support out there, but Taction USA is a company that was founded by law enforcement for law enforcement. Subscribe today to get access to exclusive content. Just look for Taction USA in Facebook groups.
Greetings and welcome once more to Crossing the Tape.
Happy New Year.
It's 2024, and I'm not trying to rhyme, but we bring you a new format for our mini episodes. We're going to alternate month to month, starting this month with the forensic news for January 2024, and next month, a miniature case, if you will. And I'm sure you will. So, as I mentioned, the news.
Yes. So, it appears in many articles I've read recently that artificial intelligence is it's making its mark everywhere.
Taking over the world.
Pretty much. But apparently, it's even making an appearance in crime scene investigation. Because recently, AI has been used in conjunction with digital forensics to recover lost or corrupted data from devices.
Nice.
And in addition, the data that's recovered through AI may help investigators reconstruct events, which I thought was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a lot of...
Super futuristic.
Yes, and there's some controversy with AI lately, and I think it has its place, personally.
Yes.
I think
it could spiral out of control and create a Terminator scenario.
Well, and I don't feel like it should ever replace a person.
Right.
However, it is a helpful tool to help a person do their best, is how I see it. Mm-hmm. So in regard to this, it's really helpful because, for years, and, that's another discussion, there's been software and other devices for police and investigators that allow them to extract data from phones and laptops and whatnot, and even get into encrypted files. But there's always a limitation. Like, I've never worked a case where there's an electronic device and it's easy. There's always like some bump in the road. So I think that's where AI probably comes in and can help a little bit recover corrupted files that, before other software before couldn't.
Right, and sometimes, I know it's not quite the same, but when trying to crack a password on a phone, the technology that's currently used, it'll either do it very quickly or it'll say, estimated 714 years before it cracks.
It's kind of hit and miss. And there's some very advanced technology in that regard. But
I wouldn't be surprised if AI is used in that regard as well.
Yeah. I couldn't find, like, the articles I was reading, I couldn't find exactly, to pinpoint what it was. Mm-hmm. But I did find that it's interesting that it also helps reconstruct things.
Rebuilding damaged files.
Well, yeah, but reconstruct events. Mm-hmm. So when you create a timeline for an investigation, you need the data from the phone. When, say, it's a missing person, and the last time they used their phone was here, but then we can't get into their phone to see what other activity, but if AI kind of goes over and is able to extract all of that, then you can piece together things better. Where before, there's been a lot of cases that I've worked that, the forensic examiner will get so much from a phone or a laptop, but they don't get it all. Mm-hmm. So it's like, well, I could only extract this, and that's great. It's still extremely helpful, but then there's holes in the timeline that doesn't help, or the timestamps are off, and we can't figure out what's the true time.
Yeah.
So in that regard, I think AI is probably going to be very helpful in the future, catching crooks.
Yes. Well, all that stuff, it's, again, not exactly an AI situation. I'm sure it'll be incorporated in a way soon, but currently they do like digital scans of crime scenes.
Yes.
To create like overhead images that you can rotate and look through the crime scene.
Yeah, it's like a 3D experience. Mm-hmm. It's really good for juries in particular.
Yes. And there was, one, I won't say the name because I forget the name, and two, I don't know if we're privy to say it here, but there was a software that you were able to use that was kind of in the early phases.
Yeah.
Where it drops you into the crime scene with like an avatar, like a person who can move throughout the crime scene. I mean, you combine that with like augmented reality or virtual reality.
Right. That's exactly what it is.
I mean, if you put that in a jury's hands where they can, from the comfort of the courtroom, literally walk through the crime scene and see everything, well, that could be huge for prosecution.
Well, and it was very helpful too. And I know what you're thinking of. I don't feel like we can say all the names here, but
it was top secret.
Not really, but it was, something I was privy to.
Yes.
But that technology was pretty interesting because, I think departments don't like change a lot of times.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll go, their argument is, we've gone away from video recording crime scenes, which I don't know why, personally. Mm-hmm. If you're a low-budget department, a video recorder
get a camcorder
is still very helpful.
Because thoroughly walk through the scene.
Yeah, I mean, crime scene photos are always going to be the most important in that regard as far as visual evidence. Mm-hmm. But a camcorder was great because you walked through the scene. Now, what I think the technology makes it a little better and enhances it is that it's more of, like you're saying, a virtual reality thing. Mm-hmm. And usually those you can mark in it where evidence has been collected or was found. Mm-hmm. Where if it's a guy with a camcorder going through the crime scene, you might not be able to see certain things, or certain things are out of focus. Mm-hmm. The technology allows you to take what you found to be imperative and enhance it as part of the experience.
Mm-hmm. And with that technology, creating that digital environment that you could walk through, we recently saw the case of the university students who were murdered, 2022 now.
Yeah.
The Koberger case. The building where it took place is going to be torn down, and family members are angry that there could be potential evidence in there that a jury would want to see, but the court has already stated, the building has been essentially abandoned now for so long that there's no way to say that anything in there is preserved.
Right. It would be contaminated. It's probably not safe at this point, too.
Right. So there's no way they're going to take the jury on a field trip to see that crime scene.
That's a very rare thing, too. That's not generally done.
Right.
Yeah, it's different.
It's rare circumstances.
Yeah.
That the jury will actually leave the courthouse and take a trip to the scene.
Yeah.
But with technology like that, nobody has to go anywhere.
No.
You can bring the scene to them.
Yeah.
And that way, once the scene is released, you don't have to worry about, we got to keep the whole place locked down and guarded for 3 years while this thing goes through court.
That costs money, resources.
Just take a scan of how it is right after the event happened, and then place the jury members within it.
Yeah. No, I think you're exactly right. And again, I think as time goes on, we'll see more details of AI and its connection, but even just that, if it is able to get into devices that before there was some kind of hole, or we can get into it in a year, or we could only get so much, if it's extracting more, then that right there alone is helpful.
Right. And as jarring as it is, see all these advances like day after day, there's another huge thing that suddenly artificial intelligence can do this. Well, it fills in the gaps of human error.
Well, it does. Like I will, my other vocation is a writer, and I'll run some of the things I write through a program that's basically AI. But it helps me. I've noticed that I have become a better writer on my own, just from using the tool, recognizing my mistakes, correcting them, and then the next time I write and I run it through there, my score is a lot higher because I myself am a better writer.
Right. It showed you, better ways to do things.
Things I forgot, from high school, high school, college, grammatical rules and things of that nature. And I've noticed an improvement in myself, and it's not taking over my job, it's helping me be better at it.
Yeah, you're able to correct that after you see, like, well, I'm apparently prone to using the wrong tense when I write about whatever.
There's certain things like that, or
now
certain
that corrects.
Yes, certain punctuation errors that, they're common, but now I'm seeing when I do it, so now I'm not doing that initially.
Yeah. We're probably going to be... This is the kind of thing that's probably going to come up a lot when we do these news segments, is suddenly this thing that nobody ever thought was possible.
Right.
A computer's now doing it by accident.
There's a lot
so
of
advanced.
Well, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this kind of little shows, because there's a lot of technology in the forensic and crime scene world, in the world of policing, that's fast advancing, and it's interesting.
Right. And this way too, in 80, 90 years, when all of our episodes are in the Smithsonian, they'll serve as an archive for the current state of forensics.
Wow, back then they only had AI? Jeez.
Now we've got BI. Imagine what that is.
Well, thank you for listening.
We appreciate you, and we're glad that we're back and you're back for 2024.
Stay safe.
And so long.